So I'm laying out there in the high Sierras, beautiful night, stars everywhere. I'm camping with my dad. We're both the same. We like to sleep outside the tent whenever possible. And we're looking up at the stars, and I'm 10 years old, 11 years old, something like that. I never really thought about the stars or the universe or anything, and we're just laying there, and it was so beautiful. You can see shooting stars. And I asked my dad, how far does that go? And he said, forever, eternally. And I sat there for a minute and I thought, no, it can't. That's impossible. He goes, what do you mean it can't? I said, I just sense that that's impossible. It can't go forever. And he says, what do you think? There's a big wall that says the end? I said, maybe. He goes, what's on the other side of the wall? And I went, it freaked me out. So ever since I've been a little kid, I've been thinking about what's out there. How big is it? And so when I got into college, I started taking astronomy classes, and I'm not some big expert on astronomy, but the whole question of now with YouTube, I watch all the experts on the world and astronomy and the universe and everything, and so it's very interesting to me still, even though I'm not an expert on it. But the fascinating question is, how far does the universe go? And so now we've learned back in the 1920s that the universe had a beginning. And there's a philosophical way to tell that time had a beginning, because if time was eternal, it would go eternally back. And that means no matter what segment of time you break it up into nanosecond, second, minute, hour, whatever, you'd have to transverse an infinite number of them to get to here. So just logically, we can tell that time had a beginning. But science has found out that because in the 1920s, all the galaxies are moving away from us, they're redshifting away, that we could reverse it back, and we know that there's a beginning. And in further studies and science has found that the universe started 13.8 billion years ago, and they call it started from an infinitely small point, which always makes me laugh because in normal language we'd call that nothing. But it started from an infinitely small point and expanded out very rapidly. So the thing is, we found out through science too that matter and energy are basically two sides of the same coin. So like that's how they made the nuclear weapons. The fission was the release of energy from matter. And the same thing is with space time. People say I hear all these experts saying the universe is expanding. Space itself is expanding. Space itself is expanding, but that doesn't make sense, because what's it expanding into? Nothing. Well, no. Space has to expand into something. If it's expanding, there has to be room for it to expand. So these experts that always say that, I think there's something missing. So what's missing, in my point of view, is there is no space, there's no time, there's space-time. So the faster you go through space, the slower time goes, or clocks go. And the slower you go through space, the faster clocks go. So we can see that time and space are basically the same thing. And we've already shown that you can't transverse an infinite. There is no such thing as an actual infinite. And whenever they do math projects and the remainder or the answer is infinite, that means there's something wrong with the math. There's no such thing as an actual infinite. There's potential infinites where we're moving towards infinity, but we cannot have an actual number of things. It's just logically impossible. If you want to look up Hilbert's Hotel and some other things that show the absurdities that come along with actual infinites. So the universe is finite, and this is my theory, and I have not heard other scientists or anybody else talking about this, but I would like to talk about it a little bit. What I think is happening is space and time are expanding. So when people say, how far is the universe? When we look back, we're just looking back in time. The light coming from those galaxies and those stars, we're seeing the light as it left millions or thousands or billions of years ago. So we're looking back in time when we look out. So what we're doing is, I think everybody exists on the edge of the universe. What's happening is future is the edge of the universe. We're on the very edge from the past to the future. So everywhere in the universe where there's a now, we're moving into the future. And the universe is expanding through space-time. And I think this also answers some questions on the quantum issues, because we have how things work in the classical way on the macro level, and then on the micro level they work a different way because there's issues with time. So I think the answer is there's a membrane between the macro and the micro. As we expand out in space-time, time becomes a little bit more irrelevant on that very edge of the universe where we exist. So the quantum level is really the level that we're looking at, the very edge of the future and the very edge of the universe. And of course, everything is going at different, time is traveling at different rates throughout the universe, but science has shown that the universe is flat too. So I think all my theories are correct. This is Tony English from English Realty. I usually do videos about real estate, but I just thought I would throw this out there. And if you're an astrophysicist and you want to talk to me about this, I'd love to do it and love to hear it. But I think it's fascinating to think about this, and hopefully you enjoy it too. Talk to you later.